Okay, welcome back. This is Still Breakfast Live Show. And it's time for E&L. I know. Like lately we do a lot of the table, right? That's really cool. Anyway, it's Monday and over the weekend we know what happened. Lots of voting went on and Dr. Baumia came up tops. So congratulations to him and his team. And we're going to be looking at the way forward and all of that. But let's start to have a conversation about the self, right? Okay. So we've been talking about self-development and looking within, trying to find yourself, things that works for you before we can fuse it into the national context. And so today we have Mr. Enoch Boateng again in the studios. It's a pleasure to always have him. He's a self-development coach and a soft skill trainer from the Chatters Forum. Yes. So today we're going to be talking about understanding our local context. Local context. I know that you have questions about like what's local context anyway. But before we get into that, let's extend our gratitude to ABJ Makeup Artistry. You already know that he has been nominated for the Best Editorial Makeup Artist of the year. And the voting is actually still going on. You should check his Instagram page out. The bio is there, the voting, the texting, all there, so you should text. Today actually happens to be, I think today's the last day of the voting, so keep your votes coming. Ghanaians, we like last minute things. Okay, we still allow it. Just vote and let ABJ win. But you can also call him for business on 0242 0242 425 224 or 0202 319-216. And then thank you to Maxim Cosmetics for sorting us out nicely. You should call Maxim Cosmetics on 030-223-4700. And then we have LB. Also, then we have Kale Toothpaste. The best thing that actually happens to you. So you should get a Kale Toothpaste. You can call them on 0246 864 798. So understanding our local context. Mr. Enoch, good morning. Have you ever been on this serious table before? No. It means that today we're having serious conversations. Anyway, how's your weekend?
I'm always indoors, so
no,
it's always me indoors and then working.
I see. Did you have any? Did you look out for what was happening with the elections?
I mean, what I try to do is not to get myself so much involved in these things happen around. So,
really?
No, I don't actually.
But in 2024, you're going to have to exercise some franchise. That's like
yes, of course. I always say that with the current crop of leaders or the political system that we have now, I don't have much expectations from them.
Oh yeah.
I don't have much because they are still evolving, and so. Yeah. But I'll do my part. I'll vote, but then I don't have expectations for any
expectation. No, that's really great.
Yeah.
That's why we should be looking at the self now, so that by the time the self gets to that position,
that's right,
we know what to do and understand what to do. Today we're trying to understand local context. Can you, why do we have to understand local context? Which context are we looking at? And
Okay, so thank you very much. It's always a joy to come here.
Yeah,
and
joy to have you.
I mean, as you've said, we're looking at the self, and I pay attention to the self so much. And one thing that I have observed in my years of study when it comes to self-development is that we fail to understand the Ghanaian context.
Okay.
We expect to build a life in Ghana, yet we don't understand the context within which we want to build a life.
Okay.
And so I think in the fourth chapter of my book, which of course is upcoming, I talk about we really understanding the context. Okay. And I make inferences from what Solomon said. I mean, if you want to be economically sound, then the best person to listen to is Solomon, because he's the richest guy in the world. So he says that by wisdom, a house is built. By understanding, it's established. So if you want to be established in Ghana, you need to understand the context.
Okay.
Whether you are doing business, I mean, you can't be doing business in Ghana here and you don't understand the context within which you are doing the business.
Okay.
So when people say that there are no opportunities, I let people understand that no, you need to understand our context, because opportunities are contextual, challenges are contextual. So what is happening in UK, what is happening in the United States is different from Ghana.
That's
so you
true.
can't be here and expect to be established here when you don't understand our context.
So you think most businesses have failed because they've imported procedures and systems, hoping that it will fit into the Ghanaian market? Is that it?
Yes, adapting something that doesn't fit within our context is problematic. And that is why, I've taught strategic management for some time. So if you look at the environmental analysis, the environment plays a key role.
Yeah.
And you see, because the external environment is out of your control, even as a business, you cannot control the external environment. So your bit as a strategic manager is to understand the variables within the environment. Understanding the variables does not mean that you want to change it, you want to influence it. You cannot. But you are just building an appreciation of the environment so you can understand the challenges and then the related opportunities, because closely related to opportunities in Ghana here are the challenges. So if you're a business and you're operating in Ghana here, that is why if you look at a business operating in Ghana and that same business operating in UK, even their market offering can differ. That's why we have what we call the adaptation strategy.
Yeah.
So you adapt your product to suit the market. So maybe it could be Vodafone brand, but Vodafone Ghana might have products that suit the Ghanaian context, and maybe Vodafone UK might have products that suit the UK context.
Okay.
And so whether it's at the business level or as an individual, you cannot be established in Ghana here when you don't understand the variables within the context.
Okay. So what indicators should we be looking out for as business person, entrepreneurial people? What basic indicators should we be looking out for in order to establish ourselves in this market?
Today you are drawing me to the business side. I thought we are looking at personal development.
Oh, well, because it's also personal development.
Yeah.
Well, because if I'm trying to bring up
a business, you want to establish
a
a business. Okay.
We've been talking about the fact that get entrepreneurial and start to think, look within, what can you do? How can you fix the problem? And all of that. There are certain things that we should be looking in the external environment that should influence our decision, when we're getting introspective.
It's very true, but then it will always be tied to your personality.
Great.
Let me give you a quick example. In 2017, I wanted to establish a tutorial consult for chartered marketing program.
Okay.
And when I did my background research, at the time, I needed 100,000 Ghana cedi. That is 2017 to start. And so because I was coming from a background where I had taught strategic management, marketing, international business, I knew that I had to do a critical assessment of the environment. So first, I needed to understand the demography, what kind of market those people will be looking for the program, how do I reach them and the rest, and also looking at how to build my relationship with the accreditation body in UK, and also to find out if they are affiliated training centers in Ghana that I could probably relate to them. And this is where most of us miss it. So anybody trying to think of establishing a business, the first thing the person thinks of is money, which is wrong. When you tell them, they say, we need startup capital. We need startup capital. You see, the first capital that you need is wisdom and understanding. You see, when you take wisdom, Solomon says that wisdom is a principal thing. What is the meaning of principal? Principal is the initial deposit. It's an initial amount. And then it also means first. So it means you want to start business first, you need wisdom as an initial deposit. You need to understand first your product and make sure the product really fits within the time, because some products might be doing well 10 years ago, but 20 years to come, it might not be doing well.
Okay.
So you really need to understand yourself, what your internal capabilities are, because again, when you do your SWOT analysis, within you have your strengths and weaknesses. Out there, you have opportunities and threats. Okay, so once you understand yourself, you know what you can do. Now come to the environment. What is the real need? Just build an understanding of it. Understand the governmental factors. Is there any policy that supports what you're doing? Are there any legal framework that can hinder what you're doing? Okay, what is the demography? What is the socio-cultural lifestyle? What is the timelines like? Do you think there's something that people would need at this time? These things are very, very basic, and they are very detailed analysis before you even think of finances. Naturally, when you get all these things right, you realize that, when I said I needed 100,000, after all these analysis, I realized that I could leverage on an institution in Ghana without setting up myself. So then I had to approach these institutions in Ghana. There were 4: UPSA, Pentecost University, and about 4 universities. I approached 2, they declined, but the third one accepted. So I had to register the students through them. So all I needed to start a business was 300 Ghana cedi, 100 cedis to TNT from Kumasi to Accra, and 200 cedi for textbooks. And then I went back home. 6 months, I had to transcribe the book to make sure it suits my context. And then again, The students started emerging. And with their money, I booked an executive conference room to teach them. So I didn't pay anything. So you see, young guys should understand that the problem is not about the environment. Every environment will keep on presenting you with challenges and opportunities. You cannot change it. Every generation will have its own challenges, whether from the political side, because if you do your personal analysis, the politics is first. Political factors will affect you, but the politicians are not your enemies. They have their challenges. Just understand their challenges and see how you can build your consciousness to circumvent their challenges by not making enemies out of them, because they are also going through their issues. I tell people that they don't understand the supranational agenda that manipulates African leaders. You have no idea. If you have an idea of geopolitical issues influencing leaders, you don't even go there. So just see how you can understand the government of the day, understand the policies, and see which one of them favors you. Take advantage of it. What is the social side, the people, the narrative? I mean, it requires critical understanding of what is happening.
Wow, I really love it. I mean, because people are trying to do lots of businesses lately, and some of us actually just blindly get into it. Okay, Ajua is into this business. It's kind of it seems like it's working for her.
Yeah.
So let me also do same business. We don't do our research. We don't find out. Probably Ajua has some personal characteristic that is able to, gain or sustain her customers. We don't even know. We just, going all the way. So you heard the good man. He's saying that you don't need money to start a business. And I really agree. If Dennis was here, it would have been a whole discussion on its own, because Dennis doesn't want to hear the fact that money is not the only factor to success. But I've already said it here that money is actually not a main contributor to success. So we are talking about wisdom. We're talking about understanding the times and seasons, understanding what's happening now, the government of the age, the systems that are working now, looking at political landscape. We're looking at the economic landscape. What are the indicators? What are the things to look out for? How is your product going to thrive in this market that we have? We have social media. How is that going to help you? How is that even going to mar your business? You should be looking out for all of these things. Well, this discussion is not ending anytime soon. So let's go for a break, and then when we get back, we'll continue. Okay, welcome back. We're having real conversation about what you should be doing now as a business person, and what you should be doing now to the self that is actually looking to grow and become something in the future. And we'll be talking to Mr. Enoch, and he's been explaining to us what it actually means to have a beginning capital, a startup capital. It's not about money, but the first capital you need to have is wisdom. I know, it's strange, but it's real. All right, so we're back, and we're talking about all of the things that you need to start a business. We spoke about the fact that you needed to understand the times, needed to understand what's happening and all of that. But you know that sometimes when you get to know the terrain, there are some switches, unplanned, spontaneous situations that jack us up gives us like some bottleneck situations in preparing to have a self-growth. How do we deal with those?
As you rightly said, you see, if you look at any business now, the business always takes the nature of the person that establishes the business. So if you walk to, let's say, a university, Ashes University, you could see Ashes University as an embodiment of the person who established it. You see, what you need to know before starting a business, it's only going to be for the starting. But when you start, that is where you have to evolve through the process. It's like you wanting to marry. What I need to know about you is just to know so that I can make a decision to settle with you. But the next 5 years, I can't know how you're going to react in the next 5 years.
Very true.
So that's where I have to be committed to the process. I have to make sure once you start, you keep an eye on what is happening, because the environment is dynamic. You can't be the same or doing the same thing the same way. So businesses say that they are in a business to find their model. If you look at how Barclays started maybe 100 years ago, you can see that it has evolved with time. Resilient brands are those who are able to adapt the agile approach to keep on evolving.
So let me take that again. Resilient brands are those that are able to
adapt the agile approach. That means they keep an eye on the environment.
Okay.
And that is why even every top organization will keep on doing environmental scanning, keep on assessing the environment, because the socio-cultural lifestyle is changing, the taste and preferences of consumers are changing, the behavioral patterns of consumers are changing every single day. So you have to keep up. That is why research is very key. You see, that's what causes most business in Ghana, because we don't keep up. We try to operate a business that we started 20 years ago. We think that we can operate with the same knowledge 20 years now. It's not going to happen. You've got to evolve through the process, regular internal and external assessment. So in the same way as a person, you can't just say that you just be the same person the whole this. When you graduate from university, it is said that the knowledge that you know, 12 months, it's past. You can't just be saying that I graduated 5 years with master's degree and you are relying on that. What you studied at that level, generically, cannot help you find your position within our modern day context. And that is why learning is a continuum. So learning organizations are organizations that are able to stay up to date. They become relevant by monitoring the dynamisms in the environment. So if you want to be a learning individual, keep an eye. Everything is changing, especially in our fast-paced world. You need to monitor.
People are learning fashion by the day. People are learning frivolous life by the day. This is a real-time thing. People are on social media, which is supposed to be like the messiah for growth,
Right.
so to say, because on social media you can learn stuff that you originally wouldn't even look out for in a library.
Right.
But now it looks as though the focus changes when you get on social media.
Right.
There is the comic part of it.
That's right.
There is the very fashionable part of it. And then there is a very, like false representative life.
That's right.
Part of it. I would want you to, outline certain things that we should be looking out for, even on social media, to help the self to grow.
Like you rightly said, the media is there to entertain, to educate, and of course, inform. And so again, it will still come back to the person. So when I go to social media, so for example, if I'm on TikTok and I'm setting my filters, I'm using the filter words that should tell me the kind of things that should appear on my For You page. You see the first one, money. The second one, wisdom. The second one, business. The third one. So you see, that's why I always say that it's you.
It's the self.
And the algorithms have been programmed in such that if you spend some few seconds, it should be able to pick up your concentration times and then suggest more of what you've looked for. So if you like women dancing and you spend 5 or 10 minutes or 1 minute on that, then you are telling the algorithm that you want that. So it will keep showing you that. And so for me, if you look at my filters, I have funny videos because I need to laugh. I can't be chenchene. I have funny sessions.
Yeah.
I watch Sabino all the time. Sabino's all the time. I watch Funny Face. So I have that section there because any plan without fun is a useless plan. It's a useless plan.
I see.
There should be fun in it.
Okay.
There should be some entertainment. But then, in terms of priority, after fun, I have money. I have economics. I have business. These are my filter words. So it all boils down to the individual. So for me, it is what you want to do. So if you see the media as a tool, people are doing business out of you. So if you go watch them, you are making them make money. And that's why when I was talking about the media in a part of my book, I was saying that you've got to be very careful because the Western media, they have the agenda. Businesses have the agenda. So it's either you fall into somebody's agenda or you go to the media with your agenda to consciously feed on what you're looking for. So when I open my Facebook, there are things that will come, there are things that will not come. So it depends. It all boils down to the individual.
And the individual.
And how you are pushing your time. It works.
Okay. So you these are things that people would ignore any day. But social media is shaping us by the moment.
Massively, yeah.
It is wildly shaping what you're eating.
Exactly.
What you're literally wearing, because somebody wouldn't want to wear certain clothes from like their wardrobe anymore. They are looking out for the next clothes. Like I want to wear, or I want to look a certain way, because they're modeling their lives after people. So it is best to know yourself. and when that self gets on social media, you start to influence certain searches.
That's right.
But when you go there not knowing yourself, you succumb to anything that comes up.
Somebody will program you.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Anyway, but after the self assessment and all of that, I want you to, I know that this is like free consultation.
Yeah.
If we want to pick mentors for this self that will feed us, help us to actually understand even in the local content.
That's right.
What are the things we should be looking out for in some people who appear to mentors?
I think the first thing is, when you are looking for a mentor, you want to share something with the mentor. And I always say that unless there is a connection, there cannot be sharing. I mean, if I want to transfer a file from my phone to you, first I need to establish a connection before I can share. And that is why I have the metaphysical side of my consultation.
Okay.
You see, human beings are energy. And so you should know who steps into your energy. As you come to me, I should have my models of processing you. Mm-hmm. I process everybody who comes into my space. So sometimes I've been, over the weekend, I had a meeting with someone, and before he came, whilst we were talking, I said, he said, it will take some time to know me. And I said, for you, I know you. Then he said, how do you know? I said, yes. Before you even came, I had processed you because I have sensed your energy. And he said, can you tell me something about myself? I said, you smile a lot, but I can tell you that beyond that smile, there is a venom of anger.
My God.
When you get there, it's dangerous. And I said, how do you know? I said, yes, because you have a strong self-awareness, you're able to overcome that. So one thing you can do now is to make sure there's that inner connection. Don't just allow anybody into your space. It's very important. So how do you connect with people? How do you feel people? Once you get to know the self, it has a way of directing you. There are people, they are good people, but they are not right connections. So you don't force certain relationships. There's not anybody that you're allowed to step into your space. Once you are grounded with that self within, naturally when you see the person, you will resonate with the people, with the person. I've had, there are kinds of ladies or guys I attract. It's not everybody who's going to love what I'm doing. And so I'm not going to force you to like what I'm doing. If you hear me and I resonate with you, naturally you will come. So it's the same way. When you meet someone, it's very important that you should have your own matrix of assessing the person. Okay. I say that there's a knowledge that comes with time, but there's a knowledge that is timeless, and that is based on inner connection.
There's a knowledge that comes with time.
The time is limited.
And one that is timeless.
Because I can say, I know Della because I've been with her for 2 years. That one is limited. But I can see you today, and because I have a strong connection with you, it's as if I've been with you for so many years.
For a long time.
I look for that when I'm getting in touch with people. So that is why I am conscious who comes into my space. So that's why if you're a friend, if you can work with me for 10 years, if I feel at a point in time you're not good for the friendship, I can close the door very fast. I won't waste time. Because life is too short for me to be messing up with you around.
That's something everybody needs to learn,
It can be 10 years. I can work with you for 10 years. But if I feel that at the point in time you are a drain to my energy, I can cut you off so fast.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow. So you decide who comes into your circle?
Be in the driving seat.
Yeah,
People can just be in the driving seat. Or else people will make you do things that they want, and you would not be able to do what you really want to do to find your expression.
I see. One of the things I've been learning over time, from my pastor. Good morning, Bishop Edwin Osi Brookman. He's been talking about there is the porch of a life. There is the hall. There is the bedroom.
Exactly.
And people don't know where to place people. There's always somebody above you.
That's right.
Somebody beside and somebody below.
Exactly.
Those above you learn from them. Those on the side you share ideas, and those below you pour into them.
For him, he does well to talk about porch. I start with the gate. There are people who just speak to them at the gate.
I know, like just hi and
gate,
that's
at the gate.
it.
They don't even come to the compound.
So decide who comes into your space. That's actually the basic way of getting good mentorship, because people learn from people thinking that maybe they are a good public figure, but no, they are not a good energy for what you or where you are going to find the self. I think that the more I speak with you, the more I get to become a motivational speaker, even though I'm already Hablan the motivator. But yes, it's actually enlightening talking to you. Let me take your last words, and then we can leave.
What I always say is that, the environment will keep on bringing you challenge. And we have failed to raise this generation to become problem solvers. And instead of looking at challenges as stepping stones to create, something, we're always looking for challenges as a means of complaining. But I always say that you can complain and complain and complain. Nothing's going to change. So why don't you give yourself the possibility to rise? And anytime a person rises up to do something, the universe and everything around will align. And then you see that naturally things start happening. That's it.
Okay, all righty. So you heard the good man. Find yourself. All you need to actually succeed is yourself. So get to enjoy yourself. Those people who are talking like that, they don't like themselves. We don't know what's happening to you anyway. But happy birthday. It's quite belated. It was just yesterday. It's not really belated. Well, happy birthday going out